The alien fleet loomed large above Earth, their massive ships blotting out the sun and casting shadows that stretched across entire continents. On board the lead vessel, alien commanders gathered, their expressions a mixture of pride and disdain as they gazed down at the planet below. To them, Earth was little more than a backwater, a primitive world barely worth the effort of subjugation. The commanders, members of a species that had conquered countless worlds, viewed this planet with little more than casual curiosity. One of the commanders, a veteran of numerous campaigns, observed Earth's defenses through the ship's advanced scanners. He scoffed, muttering to himself as he examined the scattered military bases and defensive installations. These humans, he thought, were still in the technological dark ages. Primitive jets, outdated missile systems, and scattered troops were no match for the advanced weaponry and shields of his fleet. It was almost laughable that these humans had even bothered to mount a defense. The commander sneered, his eyes narrowing as he watched the Earth's forces scramble to respond to their presence. He dismissed them as an annoyance, an inevitable delay to an otherwise routine conquest. He shared his thoughts with his fellow commanders, who laughed in agreement. They were the epitome of intergalactic power, their ships equipped with technology that could obliterate cities with a single strike. The idea that these humans thought they could resist was absurd. They had seen this before on other worlds, proud but foolish creatures convinced of their own importance, unwilling to accept the reality of their situation. And in every case, their resistance had crumbled, leaving only ruins and silence in the wake of the fleet's advance. Earth, they decided, would be no different. As they observed the movements of Earth's defenses, the commanders noticed a strange anomaly. It was a barely perceptible blip on their scanners, something too minor to be a real threat, perhaps a glitch or a natural phenomenon. They brushed it off as irrelevant, a mere artifact of the planet's chaotic atmosphere. After all, their sensors were calibrated for sophisticated threats, not the bumbling defenses of a primitive species. Yet, if they had been more perceptive, they might have noticed a pattern, an unsettling regularity to the disturbance that was invisible amid their assumptions of superiority. The fleet began to organize, preparing for what they considered an inevitable victory. They adjusted their position above key military installations, their ships spreading out in a formation that had proven effective countless times before. Each commander coordinated the deployment of troops and weapons, a carefully rehearsed routine that would soon reduce Earth's defenses to rubble. Confident in their supremacy, they watched as human aircraft scrambled into the skies, and anti-aircraft batteries powered up, positioning themselves against what the aliens perceived as inevitable destruction. The lead commander leaned back, his gaze focused on a large screen displaying an overhead view of the planet. He mused aloud to his colleagues about the foolishness of resistance, wondering if these humans even understood the scale of the force arrayed against them. His voice was filled with arrogance, the assuredness of someone who has always come out victorious. He spoke with derision, marveling at the primitive structures and outdated vehicles that humans had deployed as their last line of defense. "Do they think these machines will hold us back?" He laughed, his words dripping with disdain. "They may as well be throwing rocks at the sky." His fellow commanders laughed along, each one equally convinced of the fleet's dominance. It was, after all, a foregone conclusion. Their ships carried shields that could repel any projectile Earth's forces could muster, and their weapons were far beyond anything humans could comprehend, let alone counteract. They had already calculated Earth's technological level and found it woefully inadequate. All that remained was to decide how best to display their victory, a show of force that would leave Earth quaking in awe and submission. Yet, as they mocked and jeered, they failed to notice the faint, almost imperceptible disruptions beginning to flicker across their systems. Small anomalies, like a whisper in the dark, seemed to touch their sensors, lingering just long enough to be noticed before vanishing. When one of the junior technicians brought it to the attention of his commander, he was dismissed with a wave of the hand. There was no need to investigate minor fluctuations when there was a planet to conquer. One by one, they prepared their attacks, the final preparations complete. Earth's cities lay vulnerable beneath their shadow, unaware of the doom the alien commanders intended to unleash. From high above, they watched as Earth's defenses shifted, rearranging as though to prepare for some desperate last stand. The commanders smiled, each one envisioning the swift and brutal conquest that would soon be theirs. But then, just as they were ready to strike, an alarm sounded. The commanders paused, momentarily startled. It was an unusual sound, an indicator reserved for emergencies, and for a brief moment, a flicker of confusion passed through the room. But as quickly as it came, it was gone, replaced by a calm assurance that their systems would resolve the issue. They dismissed the alarm as an internal glitch, a momentary hiccup in their otherwise flawless technology. However, the alarm sounded again, and this time, a more prominent warning flashed across their screens. Their scanners had picked up something, a faint, elusive signal that defied their sensors' ability to pinpoint. It was like a shadow slipping through the cracks, just beyond their reach. They adjusted their settings, trying to lock onto it, but it was as though the disturbance had vanished into thin air. Frustration flickered across their faces, a rare crack in their otherwise implacable confidence. The lead commander straightened, his expression darkening as he ordered his crew to focus their attention on the anomaly. He reminded them that although Earth was primitive, they could not afford to allow any unexpected interference. The fleet's reputation, after all, was one of flawless conquest, and he would tolerate no deviation from that standard. As they recalibrated their scanners, the commanders noticed an unexpected silence settling over the command room. The chatter had ceased, the laughter and smug remarks now replaced by an uneasy tension. The silence seemed to stretch, growing heavier as they waited for their instruments to provide clarity. But the anomaly persisted, a ghostly presence that eluded even their most sophisticated equipment. And then, without warning, the first strike came. One of the alien ships, stationed high above a major human city, reported a sudden malfunction. Its sensors had detected a direct hit, a targeted strike that had taken out a critical system. The damage was precise, almost surgical in its execution, as though the attacker had known exactly where to strike. The commander of the vessel was stunned, momentarily paralyzed by the impossibility of what he was witnessing. For a moment, disbelief clouded his mind. After all, humans weren't supposed to possess this kind of accuracy, not against the shielded, fortified ship. Reports flooded in from other ships, each one detailing similar incidents. One by one, the fleet's outer defenses were being picked apart by an unseen force. The lead commander gritted his teeth, his initial amusement now replaced by an icy rage. This wasn't supposed to happen. Earth's leaders watched the alien ships overhead with grim resolve, aware of the immense technological disadvantage they faced but unwilling to surrender. Military strategists and engineers had convened in underground bunkers, analyzing every bit of intelligence they could gather on the alien fleet. They knew a head-on battle would end in annihilation, so they devised a plan that leveraged Earth's greatest asset, humanity's adaptability and resourcefulness. High-ranking officers shared a silent agreement: no massive assaults, no large formations, only the stealthiest and most skilled would confront this threat. And at the center of their plan was a single, almost mythical operative: the Silent Sniper. The Silent Sniper was legendary in special operations circles, known for precise and devastating effectiveness. It was said that he could make a shot from miles away and vanish without a trace. His identity remained a mystery even among the highest ranks, and most of the stories surrounding him sounded more like myth than fact. But one thing was certain: he was Earth's best chance at disrupting the alien command structure, and he was willing to risk everything for this mission. Armed with a rifle specially modified to evade alien sensors and equipped with tracking technology to pinpoint the exact locations of alien commanders, he set out under the cover of darkness. The sniper's first shot was silent and unseen, a nearly invisible projectile aimed at an alien observation drone hovering high above a military base. It was a test shot, a way to confirm the modifications to his equipment could bypass the alien surveillance. The drone exploded in a quiet, contained burst, reduced to a smoldering wreck before it even hit the ground. From his hidden position, the sniper observed the reaction of the alien commanders. Their initial response was exactly as he expected: dismissive, brushing it off as a mechanical failure. He watched, waiting for the moment when they would realize they were being hunted. He shifted his position, using the alien fleet's shadow to mask his movements. His second shot targeted an energy relay on one of the smaller ships, a critical piece of equipment hidden behind layers of protective shielding. The projectile sliced through with pinpoint accuracy, severing the relay and causing a ripple effect throughout the alien systems. Alarms blared, and for the first time, he detected a note of tension among the alien fleet. The commanders began coordinating their efforts to locate the source of the attack, yet he remained undetected, a ghost in the shadows. The sniper moved systematically, each shot precise and devastating. He alternated his targets between key infrastructure points and high-ranking officers, crippling systems and eliminating command figures with surgical precision. The fleet's response grew increasingly frantic, their communication channels flooded with alarmed reports of failing systems and missing personnel. Alien commanders, once so assured of their dominance, were beginning to lose their composure. Their initial confidence shattered as they came to the grim realization that they were not invulnerable. The sniper's approach was calculated, each shot strategically placed to sow maximum confusion among the alien ranks. He had studied the alien technology, finding and exploiting weaknesses that the commanders had overlooked. Unlike their previous conquests, where brute force had been sufficient, they were now up against a foe who understood their vulnerabilities. The sniper knew that if he could sustain the pressure, the aliens would be forced to reveal even more about their operations, granting Earth's military the insights it needed to coordinate further strikes. As the sniper eliminated key figures, he noticed the alien response shift. The commanders, no longer willing to dismiss the attacks as mere malfunctions, began directing resources toward locating him. They deployed advanced detection technology, trying to triangulate his position. But with every new measure they introduced, he adapted, evading them with ease and altering his position before they could lock onto his coordinates. He was a step ahead at every turn, anticipating their responses and countering them with minimal effort. His mastery of guerrilla tactics baffled the aliens, who were accustomed to straightforward warfare, not this relentless, unseen adversary. The alien commanders were now fully aware that a single human sniper was dismantling their forces, but they could do nothing to stop him. Their advanced technology, which had overwhelmed countless civilizations, was useless against a foe they couldn't see or predict. Their frustration mounted, compounded by the fear that they were facing an enemy they did not understand. Despite their vast superiority in numbers and firepower, they were utterly powerless in the face of a single human. It was a humbling experience, one that filled them with a sense of vulnerability they had never felt before. The sniper moved again, this time targeting a command center positioned at the heart of one of the larger ships. His shot struck true, penetrating the thick layers of armor and eliminating another high-ranking commander. The alien ranks descended into chaos as the chain of command continued to fracture. Each eliminated leader left a void that weakened the fleet's cohesion, amplifying the disarray that had begun to set in. The sniper observed with satisfaction as the once organized fleet devolved into confusion, each commander now more concerned with their own survival than the mission at hand. Reports began filtering through alien channels, each more panicked than the last. Fear spread among the alien ranks as they realized they were not just facing a random assault, but a calculated campaign to dismantle them from the inside. The sniper's strategy was clear: dismantle the leadership, disrupt communication, and force the aliens to confront the possibility that they were vulnerable. The alien commanders were now beginning to understand that they were no longer the hunters, they had become the hunted. As he observed their increasingly desperate attempts to defend themselves, the sniper felt a surge of pride. Humanity, against all odds, was holding its own, refusing to bow before an enemy that had conquered countless worlds. His strikes were no longer just tactical maneuvers, they were a message. Each shot served as a reminder that humans were not so easily subdued, that they would fight with every resource at their disposal, no matter how hopeless the odds. He shifted again, preparing for his next strike. He knew he couldn't keep this up indefinitely. Eventually, the aliens would adapt, perhaps even find a way to track him. But until that moment, he would continue to chip away at their forces, one commander at a time, leaving a trail of fear and devastation in his wake. The aliens, once so certain of their dominance, were now trapped in a game they didn't know how to play, a game of patience, precision, and nerve. As the night wore on, the sniper's attacks continued, each one a carefully calculated blow to the alien command structure. He was relentless, his every movement measured and precise. The aliens, for all their technology, could do nothing but react, scrambling to contain a threat they could neither see nor understand. The sniper's presence had transformed the battlefield, turning what should have been a straightforward invasion into a nightmare scenario for the alien commanders. By the time dawn broke, the alien fleet was in disarray, its commanders terrified and its systems compromised. Earth's forces, emboldened by the sniper's success, began to mobilize, preparing for a coordinated strike that would capitalize on the chaos he had sown. The alien commanders, now fully aware of the threat they faced, were left with no choice but to prepare for a fight they had never anticipated, a fight on human terms, in a world they could no longer control. The silent sniper had made his mark, and now, the aliens would feel the full weight of humanity's defiance. The alien commanders, no longer as assured, were now desperately rethinking their strategies. Each new measure they employed to locate and neutralize the sniper only ended in more losses, more confusion. They began deploying advanced tracking systems, intricate webs of sensors, and layers of shields around critical areas, all in the hope of catching this elusive foe. Yet every time they thought they had him pinned down, he slipped through their defenses, as if he were a phantom. Panic began to spread through the ranks as reports filtered in, detailing the precision with which the sniper targeted their most vulnerable points. No longer able to dismiss the attacks as isolated incidents, the commanders grew increasingly paranoid. Some began questioning each other, wondering if this mysterious sniper was receiving inside help or if there was a traitor in their midst. They pored over security logs, trying to identify any discrepancy that might reveal his location, but found nothing. The sniper's tactics were as sophisticated as they were invisible, leaving the commanders on edge, doubting each decision and fearing each shadow. As the pressure mounted, the alien leadership began to unravel. Accusations flew in heated discussions, each commander blaming the others for failing to address the threat. Friction erupted as each one struggled to retain control, their egos and confidence now fractured by the fear that had settled over them. The unity that had once defined their fleet was splintering, replaced by a sense of self-preservation and mutual distrust. This was exactly what the sniper had intended, a psychological assault as calculated as his physical strikes. He knew that breaking their unity was just as important as eliminating their leaders one by one. The alien commanders attempted to double down on their defenses. They equipped their ships with detection technology that scanned every inch of surrounding airspace and ground, but it was too late. Their systems, once flawless, were beginning to falter under the weight of relentless attacks. Resources had to be allocated toward replacing damaged parts, redirecting forces, and constantly recalibrating their sensors to account for the sniper's elusive tactics. Each layer of defense they added only served to reveal new vulnerabilities, which the sniper was quick to exploit. He adapted with each change, remaining a step ahead, a specter haunting their every move. The fleet's officers, who had once moved with calm precision, now spoke in hushed tones, casting nervous glances at their screens and double-checking every report. The calm, orderly command center had transformed into a scene of quiet chaos, the weight of their helplessness pressing down on every soldier and technician. Each new hit on their systems drove home the terrifying realization that they were no longer in control. They were cornered prey in a game they didn't understand, outmaneuvered by an adversary they couldn't see, let alone confront directly. A new round of attacks hit the fleet, and panic surged anew. Systems began failing in critical locations, with reactors stalling, navigation equipment short-circuiting, and even their weapons systems intermittently shutting down. The sniper shots were no longer just killing individuals. They were dismantling the fleet's very infrastructure. The alien commander's fear escalated to outright desperation. For the first time, they understood that they were not facing a lesser foe, but rather an adversary who had studied them, who understood their weaknesses, and who exploited each one with ruthless precision. The commanders began to shift their priorities. No longer was the objective to conquer Earth. Now, Their primary concern was survival. They pulled back from key strategic points, abandoning strongholds they'd once deemed essential. Ships that had previously stationed themselves over human cities moved into retreat positions, clustering together for protection. The once menacing alien fleet now looked more like a pack of cornered animals, huddling together for safety rather than displaying their former overwhelming strength. The commanders issued orders that were contradictory, fragmented by their fear, and the fleet's effectiveness disintegrated further. Reports came in that Earth's forces were mobilizing, capitalizing on the disarray. Seeing the alien fleet in disarray emboldened them, and smaller skirmishes began to erupt around the weakened edges of the fleet's formation. Earth's military, which had been holding back, now launched calculated attacks, coordinated to take advantage of the fractures caused by the sniper. The alien commanders, once so certain of their invincibility, found themselves increasingly surrounded, trapped by a force they had underestimated. In an act of desperation, one commander attempted to draw out the sniper by broadcasting a message directly to him. They offered a truce, claiming they would retreat if he ceased his attacks. It was a hollow attempt at bargaining, born of fear, but the sniper made no reply. He continued his strikes, each one a cold reminder of his resolve and his unwillingness to let them escape so easily. The alien fleet, which had once cast a shadow of dread over the planet, now found itself under siege by a single human. The commander's message went unanswered, lost amid the chaos that continued to spread through their ranks. The attacks became even more unpredictable, the sniper's strategy shifting as he intensified his assault. One by one, the commanders realized they could no longer hope to outwit him. Their defensive maneuvers had failed, their offers of negotiation had been ignored, and their morale was shattered. Even the junior officers, those who had once idolized their commanders and held them in awe, began to show signs of disillusionment. They witnessed firsthand the downfall of the once mighty fleet, reduced to a defensive, reactionary force by an unseen enemy. The sniper's tactics became increasingly psychological, targeting not just physical systems, but the very morale of the alien forces. He struck at random intervals, sometimes holding back for hours, letting the commanders grow uneasy, only to strike suddenly and without warning. The unpredictability of his attacks broke any semblance of calm they had left. Every moment of silence was no longer a reprieve but a prelude to another devastating shot, a reminder that he was still out there, watching, waiting, ready to dismantle them piece by piece. At last, the alien commanders reached a point of complete breakdown. They began to turn on each other openly, accusing one another of incompetence, of failing to uphold the fleet's honor and integrity. What had started as a well-coordinated invasion had degenerated into infighting and chaos. The silent sniper's relentless assault had reduced them to shadows of their former selves, exposing the fragility of their unity and the limits of their technological superiority. In their desperation, some commanders even abandoned their posts, seeking safety in retreat, their vessels withdrawing further and further from Earth as they scrambled to escape the nightmare they found themselves in. Earth's forces, emboldened by the sniper's success, launched coordinated attacks on the remaining alien ships. They took advantage of every gap, every blind spot created by the fractured command structure, and began to push the aliens back. The once monolithic fleet was now a scattering of disjointed ships, struggling to maintain order in the face of a relentless counterattack. Each shot from Earth's forces was amplified by the sniper's efforts, every maneuver designed to capitalize on the cracks he had created within their ranks. The alien commanders, once towering figures of authority, had been reduced to desperate, fearful individuals, each one trying to save themselves in a battle they had long since lost. The silent sniper's mission was nearly complete. He had succeeded in bringing the invaders to their knees without ever revealing his identity, turning their overconfidence into their greatest weakness. He watched as the once mighty fleet, fractured and broken, began to retreat, its ships limping away from Earth in a haphazard, panicked exodus. As the last alien vessel slipped beyond Earth's atmosphere, the silent sniper knew his work was done. He had held the line, not with massive armies or advanced technology, but with precision, resilience, and an understanding of his enemy's weaknesses. And as Earth's forces reclaimed the skies, humanity stood victorious, having turned the tables on an invader who thought themselves unstoppable. The alien fleet, now scattered and humbled, had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humanity was not to be underestimated, and those who challenged Earth would face more than just weapons. They would face a resolve that no technology could conquer. The alien commanders, battered and humiliated, gathered what remained of their forces in a last-ditch effort to escape Earth's relentless resistance. With their ranks in disarray, every attempt to regain control only amplified the chaos. They were desperate, looking for any way to salvage their mission, but the fleet's unity had shattered. Each commander now acted independently, no longer cooperating as a single, unstoppable force. Their movements were uncoordinated, filled with fear-driven decisions rather than strategy. The once mighty alien fleet, which had arrived in flawless formation, was reduced to a scattering of disoriented ships, each trying to avoid the next devastating strike. But the silent sniper hadn't finished. Just as the commanders clung to a sliver of hope, the sniper's attacks resumed, more relentless and unpredictable than ever. This time, he didn't focus on individual leaders. Instead, he took out critical propulsion systems, disabling ships from making a quick escape. His targets were no longer just tactical. He aimed to ensure that every ship remained within Earth's reach, unable to flee or regroup. With each disabling shot, the alien commander's morale plummeted further, realizing they had been completely outmaneuvered by a single human adversary. The hopelessness of their position sank in as they understood that their only options were either surrender or total annihilation. Earth's forces, witnessing the disarray among the aliens, began their full-scale assault. Coordinated ground-to-air missiles launched from bases around the world, striking alien ships that had lost their defensive formations. Human aircraft, emboldened by the weakening enemy, launched direct strikes on alien vessels, targeting their weakened hulls and exposed systems. For every alien commander who tried to mount a defense, 10 human pilots were there to counter, exploiting every vulnerability the sniper had exposed. Humanity was rallying, no longer merely defending its home but actively pushing the alien invaders back. In one final act of desperation, a group of alien commanders initiated a call for retreat. It was a message transmitted to every surviving vessel in the fleet, a desperate plea for the remnants to flee Earth's gravity well and regroup in distant space. But the sniper intercepted the signal, taking advantage of the open communication channel to track their exact locations. With a precision that could only come from years of training and an intimate understanding of his enemy, he coordinated his strikes to intercept the escaping ships. Each vessel attempting to retreat was hit with pinpoint accuracy, rendering their engines useless and leaving them stranded within Earth's reach. The remaining commanders, cornered and out of options, sent a final plea for mercy to Earth's leaders. They offered promises of peace, reparations, and a full withdrawal, hoping to salvage what they could. But humanity's response was unyielding. They had watched these invaders arrive with contempt and witnessed their unchecked arrogance firsthand. There would be no negotiations, no retreat. Earth's forces intensified their offensive, pressing in on the alien fleet from all sides, refusing to allow even a single ship to escape. The silent sniper continued his campaign, his presence now a specter that haunted the few alien ships still functional. Each shot he fired was a reminder of humanity's strength and resolve, an emblem of defiance that echoed across the battlefield. The aliens, once proud conquerors, had become mere targets, their every movement marked by fear and hesitation. The sniper's strikes had rendered their technology ineffective, reduced their leaders to cowering figures, and dismantled their unity. Now they could do nothing but brace themselves for the inevitable end. One by one, the alien vessels fell, their defenses shattered and their systems rendered inoperable. Earth's forces capitalized on every opening, unleashing a relentless barrage until the sky was clear of the once imposing fleet. The alien commanders, who had once looked upon Earth with derision, were no more. Their ships lay as scattered debris, smoldering in the atmosphere or crashing down in fiery remnants. The silence that followed was the final testament to the end of the invasion. Earth had won, not through superior technology, but through strategy, resilience, and the willpower of its defenders. As the last alien ship disintegrated, A wave of relief swept over Earth's forces. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. Soldiers, pilots, and civilians alike celebrated, their cheers resonating across the globe. Humanity had not only defended its home, it had sent a message to the stars that Earth was not to be conquered, that humanity would stand firm against any threat. The sniper's legend grew, his actions becoming a symbol of defiance and resilience for a world that had united in the face of extinction. With the alien threat eliminated, Earth's leaders began the long task of rebuilding. The silent sniper, his mission complete, vanished into the shadows once more, his identity unknown, his presence marked only by the silent victories he had orchestrated. He had become a myth, a guardian of Earth, the invisible protector who had struck fear into the hearts of a technologically superior foe. To those who knew the truth, he was more than just a soldier. He was a symbol of hope, a reminder of what humanity could achieve even in its darkest hour. In the days that followed, Earth scientists and strategists studied the remnants of the alien fleet, eager to learn from the technology left behind. They dismantled the alien ships, examining each piece with newfound confidence. The knowledge they gained would strengthen Earth's defenses, ensuring that humanity would be better prepared for any future threats. The invasion had left scars, but it had also given humanity a rare gift, the understanding of its own strength and the unbreakable spirit that had carried them through. The world looked to the stars, no longer with fear but with a determined curiosity. Humanity would not remain hidden on its own planet, vulnerable to outside forces. Now, with alien technology at their disposal, Earth scientists began to dream of a future where humanity could explore the stars on its own terms, not as a subjugated race but as equals in the vast expanse of space. And as Earth's people rebuilt their lives, stories of the silent sniper were told in whispers, a tale of a single figure who had turned the tide of an impossible battle. His legend grew, woven into the fabric of humanity's history as a reminder of the power of one individual's determination. Children would hear the tale of the sniper who faced the alien commanders, parents would recount the victory with pride, and leaders would remember the lessons learned during those days of fear and triumph. In the aftermath of the invasion, humanity found a new sense of unity. Borders that once divided nations blurred, as people recognized the strength that came from standing together. They had been tested, pushed to the edge of survival, and emerged stronger than ever. Earth was not just a planet, it was home, and it was worth fighting for with every resource, every skill, every ounce of resolve they possessed. And so, as humanity looked to a new horizon, the message sent to the stars was clear: Earth would not be conquered. Anyone who dared to challenge them would face not just their armies, not just their weapons, but the unbreakable spirit of a species that had risen against the odds and claimed its right to survive. The silent sniper, though unseen, was forever etched into that message, a silent guardian whose actions had changed the course of history. The alien commanders had arrived expecting an easy victory, but they left as ghosts, scattered memories of a fleet that had underestimated the resilience of Earth. The skies cleared, and humanity was once more in command of its own fate. As they ventured forward, the silent sniper's legacy endured, a testament to the strength of human courage and the relentless will to remain free.